Hello, dear friends, Pranam. I am Nikhil Kumar. I am professor in the University Department of English of Veer Kumar Singh University, Ara, in the province of Bihar, in India. 4 days back, on the 5th December 2020, I gave a video talk on the yogic importance of Sri Aurobindo's renunciation of his body. I am sure you remember that I told you that day that Sri Aurobindo renounced his body so that he could go to the plane of the subtle matter which exists just above the plane of this gross matter, so that he could hasten the work of making the transcendent divine supramental matter. I would like to recall to your mind here that Sri Aurobindo has discovered the existence of a plane of existence which is, as I have told you, the plane of subtle matter, and this plane of subtle matter is the origin of this gross world of matter. That is to say, the world of the gross matter has been given birth by the world of subtle matter. Sri Aurobindo felt it imperative to leave his body so that the work which were left in making the supramental body could be completed on the plane of subtle matter, because it is only on the plane of subtle matter that the remaining work of building the supramental matter could be made possible. That is why he renounced his body. You must be remembering that in my talk I also told you that as soon as Sri Aurobindo left his body, gross material envelope, the concentrated supramental consciousness within his being started coming out. A golden light was glowing. It was radiating his body. This golden light was the manifestation of the supramental consciousness. I don't feel any need to explain once again in today's talk that Sri Aurobindo, by way of his integral yoga, brought down the transcendent divine supramental consciousness into his being. It was due to this very reason that as soon as he left his gross material envelope, the supramental consciousness started coming out in the manifestation of the golden light. Vedic rishis were the men of spiritual consciousness. They had the glimpse of the transcendent divine supramental, for which they used the term Vigyan. The word Vigyan they used for the purpose of expressing the plane of transcendent divine supramental consciousness. And along with Sri Aurobindo, the Vedic rishis also found that the golden light is the manifestation of the transcendent divine supramental consciousness. So I was telling you that as soon as he left the body, this golden light pervaded everywhere. It glowed out of his body and it started spreading everywhere. So in fact, Sri Aurobindo had a plan, a divine plan he had. He had made arrangements for all these things. And mother told that his body could not be led to rest. It could not be led into the samadhi till the golden light continues to come out of his body, continues to emit. This day, that is to say on the 9th December in 1950, the golden light stopped glowing. The golden light stopped coming out of his body. And this day was the fit time for laying the body into the samadhi. And this day has got a very significant yogic implication. It is yogically very, very important. A great yogic importance this 9th December has got. Because the next step in building this new supramental manifestation for this very earth, it was important that earth could be made receptive. Prior to Sri Aurobindo's leaving of his body, the earth was not at all receptive. The matter was not at all receptive to that very transcendent divine supramental consciousness. So it was a must. And in order to make the earth receptive, the first requirement was that the supramental consciousness which was contained within his being could come out and could permeate the environment. And the other important thing with regard to the receptivity of this earth, that is to say of the matter, was that this supramental consciousness could percolate into it. The supramental consciousness was required to be percolated into the very foundation of the matter. So when Sri Aurobindo's body was led to rest, it was led to samadhi, the supramental consciousness could get an access to enter into the matter. Though the supramental consciousness had come out of Sri Aurobindo's body, because as it was seen that the golden light stopped coming out, the very essence of supramental consciousness was very much present in his body. I again repeat that in spite of the fact that the supramental consciousness left the gross body of Sri Aurobindo, the very essence of supramental consciousness continued to exist in his body. In fact, there was no essential difference. No essential difference was there on account of the coming out of the supramental consciousness from his gross body. That is why when Sri Aurobindo's body was led to Samadhi under the service tree located in the Sri Aurobindo Ashram Puducherry, which was earlier called Pondicherry, when his body was led to Samadhi, the very supramental consciousness which was still present in his body percolated into the very substance of the gross matter. And the very gross matter undergone a transformation. The supramental consciousness became the foundation of this gross matter. So, in these two phenomena, firstly, the glowing of the supramental consciousness in the golden light, in the form of the golden light, and in this secondly, the very laying of his gross body into the samadhi. These two are very important for the supramental consciousness to be the foundation of this gross matter. Only then it could be possible for Sri Aurobindo to make the supramental consciousness manifest in the earth on 29th February 1956. When I am saying here that Sri Aurobindo left his gross material body in 1950 and after 6 years he made the supramental consciousness manifest in the earth, it may look something very insane, something very abnormal, something very bizarre to a matter-oriented mind. But we have to accept the truth of the birth-death continuum. In my last video talk, I had pointed out one scientific discovery in the realm of the modern science. In the quantum theory, a tendency which was termed probability wave was discovered. This probability wave, which is essentially a tendency, could come into formation as an after effect of the change of thought in the mind of the experimenter. When the experimenter looked at a particle and a thought of wave came into his mind as one of the features of the particle, the very particle was converted into wave. And the moment he thought wave to be a particle, wave came into particle. Actually, due to the change of the thought, a tendency was formed. This tendency is probability wave. And that tendency congealed into electron photon constituting matter and then finally a material object. Since the cell of a human body or any living creature is an evolved form of matter, it's very clear that as a result of the movement of the thought on the universal plane, a tendency was born which was later on took the form of electron photon and further it could come to be a cell. So this is called birth. It was also found that the very wave goes back to its previous state of previous state of wave. wave comes to be matter, and matter goes back to its state of wave. So the very process or phenomenon of matter going back to its state of wave and then into consciousness itself, universal consciousness, it is in fact the phenomenon of death. Matter comes to be a tendency, probability wave, means material existence is lost. That is to say, that is the death of the gross body. And it goes back to the state of consciousness, universal thought, universal mind, then transcendent consciousness. So here we have a very clear picture of birth-death continuum, a plane of existence which is birth-death continuum. So, when I say or anybody says that Sri Aurobindo, after leaving his gross body, could make it possible for the supramental consciousness to manifest in the earth existence, must not look bizarre, something abnormal, something insane. It is highly scientific. So in Sri Aurobindo ashram, the mother, who was also the manifestation of the supramental consciousness, and the sadhaks, the evolved sadhaks, could feel very concretely or could find very concretely the manifestation of the supramental consciousness on the earth. So this manifestation could take place only for the reason that the earth, or to say the matter, could be receptive. It was made receptive on this very 9th December in 1950, when Sri Aurobindo's body was led to Samadhi, led into Samadhi. When his body was led into Samadhi, I am repeating, the very essence of supramental consciousness percolated into the very substance of matter. So today's death, today is, that is to say that this 9th December is of a great yogic importance. It is Sri Aurobindo who is doing the unfinished task of all the Vedic rishis and the writer of the Gita, so that an immortal life, a divine life, could be established on the earth. Moksha no more remains the rejection of this earthly life, but moksha comes to be the descent and establishment of the transcendent divine supramental life on this very earth, that is to say in this terrestrial existence. Thank you very much. Pranam.